Hey my babies, in this video we're going to be talking about incubi, poltergeist, and exorcism. Okay, and this is among the most common complaints brought to santeros, right? And hauntings and bewitchments. Very often people come to santero for registro and find out to their intense discomfort that there is a spirit, usually of the opposite sex, following them around. This is ascertained by Santero by reading the seashells, which is crazy. I had one and it will follow me around. Thank God it's gone now. But oh my God. But sometimes it's Santero, and I could still feel it, like sometimes trying to pull on my energy, but and never again. Okay, they are gone. But sometimes the Santero finds that the spirit has been hired by an enemy of the consultant to harm him in every possible way. This is known as an invención, which is Spanish word that means to sin. The spirit, usually the disembodied soul of a madman or a criminal, is invoked and then hired, usually through evil skills of Mayo Bero, or a witch. These lost souls are usually brought with a white candle and a few copper coins. There are also several spiritual entities that are often used in Santeria to overcome a person, usually in love spells. The three most popular ones are the restless spirits, the dominant spirits, and the lonely spirits. The latter is also known in Yoruba as Alagbagwana, who, according to one of the Yoruba stories, Patakis, is that the mother of Elegua. There are special prayers and often artists' conceptions of these spirits as at the botanicas. Although it requires all santero skills to rid a person of one of these tenacious and timorous spirits, they are not as sinister and terrifying as spirits that haunt a person purely personal reasons. There is a belief in Santeria that sometimes during a previous incarnation a person may have hurt or betrayed another, or may have loved and been loved passionately, and may then have become separated by death from the loved one. The feeling of hatred or love can be so strong that upon dying the other person goes on and look for his enemy or his lover, as the case may be, in the spirit realm. The search may go on for centuries until one day the object of his intense undying feeling is finally found. But this disembodied searcher finds to his utter frustration that the soul he has been looking for has been reincarnated, and therefore is at least temporarily out of reach. Determined not to lose sight of his quarry, he prepared to wait patiently for the death to reunite them again. Although the unwitting victim of the spiritual surveillance cannot see your pursuer, he starts to notice strange and unexplainable phenomena taking place around him. If the feeling between himself and his spiritual watcher is one of hatred, discord, his life becomes as perfect hell. All his personal business affairs suddenly become a constant source of frustrations and disappointment. If, on the other hand, the connective binding him to his ghostly guardian is one of love, he starts he starts noticing that his love life becomes chaotic, as if something or someone wanted him to be alone. In extreme cases, especially in love bonds, this disembodied spirit becomes so impatient, so eager to have an actual confrontation with living partner, that he may materialize and be actually seen by a former lover. Sometimes the spirit actually attempts to have physical contact with the person who is the object of his affection. Belief and these love-hungry spirits dates from Middle Ages, and they are known as incubi. I talk about this a lot. And in that case of a male spirit seeking actual contact with a living female, and a succubui, when a female spirit is in pursuit of a living male. Okay? To the santeros who are not conversant with such terms of incubi and succubi. The latter are simply spirits dating from previous incarnations. A well-known santero from Shango, whom I had an opportunity, this is a person writing in the book, to interview recently, told me of a case. See, this person that actually wrote this book, that's what I was saying in my last video, someone must have wrote this book because the way that they was talking. So now I know. Okay, so they must have been interviewing santeros. Okay, so, as a well-known santero from Chicago, who I had an opportunity to interview, recently told me a case he had not very long ago. One of these bodiless entities haunting one of his clients, and the victim, a young woman in her mid-20s, came to see the santero in a state of near hysteria, and she told him during the previous months that she had been terrified by the feeling of the body of the man laying next to her, and been terrified by the feeling of the body of the man lay next to her at night. Whenever she turned on her light, she could not see or feel anyone next to her, but as soon as the light turned off, she could feel his cold, damp body pressing against hers. This is crazy. And when she woke up in the mornings, when she woke up in the mornings, she always found purple marks wherever she had felt ghostly contact. After this terrifying experience had been repeated for several times, she decided to spend a few weeks with her younger sisters who lived nearby. On the first night at her stays at her house, the sister's house, she decided to watch the television while her sister went to bed early. As she sat down and prepared herself some badly needed relaxation, she felt someone's presence behind her. Thinking that her sister had changed her mind and had decided to watch television with her, she turned around with a smile, only to find herself facing a tall man dressed in white, whose strangely vacant eyes started fixedly at her from a pale, cadaveric face, and she jumped up from her seat and she ran screaming into her sister's room. But when she returned with her sister to the room where she had, there I go, cat, got my nose itchy, these damn animals, she had seen the apparition. The man had disappeared. Terrified beyond words, she decided to go to sleep immediately by her sister's side. But shortly after they turned out the lights, the doorbell rang, and her sister got out of bed and leaned out the second-story bedroom. Could not see anyone. She turned to the bed, but as soon as she was under the covers, the doorbell rang again. This time the girl was being haunted that got up went to look out the window, and there, by the dim light of the street light, stood the same man, and she had a few moments before while she watched the television. He glared at her with the same intense, wide-eyed stare that had terrified her earlier. Both sisters spent the night locked up in their bedroom with all the lights turned on, unable to sleep or rest. The next morning, the girl who was the victim of this relentless pursuit decided to pay a visit to a santero of whom she had heard through a friend to ask for help and advice. The santero told her that she had to wear a reguero prepared by Shango as the guardian spirit. Also, she had to take several purifying baths. And this is why I be telling y'all about those spiritual baths and them spiritual cleanses. And y'all don't be trying to listen. When I tell y'all that's what y'all need, that's what y'all need. Y'all better listen. But anyway, when I give you a prescription, if you don't get it up, I don't know what to tell you. This was only primary work, for the actual exorcism of the spirit had to be done by Santero himself during 9 consecutive days at exactly 12 noon. The exorcism was done by dipping a bundle of special herbs, like I did 9/11 on the clock, okay? 9/11, soon as I said that, special herbs tied with a piece of red string into a container of holy water. And I'm not going to tell y'all everything else that's on here. Paying special attention to the dark closets behind the closed doors while he aspirated the house. The santero called on Shango to banish the spirit of the lover, admonishing him to leave his victim in peace immediately after the first exorcism. Okay, these exorcisms are known as despejos and santeria. Okay, now I want y'all to follow me for more. The stories of ghostly lovers and that are common in santeria, where I will be speaking about in a